here.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite sidekick's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the NECA 1/4 scale Burt Ward Robin. Let me tell you how this came to be in my company. My maniac friend Robert D was at New Jersey Collectors Con. I was selling some stuff. I made a comment to him that I was trying to make some room in the house and get rid of some stuff. So what did he do? He went out and bought me the biggest, goofiest thing that he could think of, which was a NECA 1/4 scale Robin. So it's now mine. We're going to talk about it. We're going to review it. And we're going to talk about some of the issues with it in terms of, build and quality. And then we're going to talk about some of the issues with it in terms of it being in my home. Accessory-wise, it comes with a batarang. It has almost like a metallic finish to it, like a metallic flick finish. It's like a purple batarang, and then it has a real string tied to it. And he can hold that in one of the hands that we'll talk about here in a second. Mainly this one, I think. But let's see if we can't jam her in there. So there's that. He has a pair of bat cuffs, which somehow makes it worse. And they clip in. They're well done. They're a little flimsy because they're thinner plastic, but they're well enough done. And then a plastic chain that goes between the two. He has a gas mask. This is actually really nice. Nose fits in there. There's a cut for his lips. Silver paint, gold paint. And this you just shove up his nose, and you have his gas mask. He comes with a radio, to bat radio, to kind of, talk to the man himself. And we got all sorts of paint on here. This base color paint, the gold, the burgundy, and then the antennas are painted silver and retractable. And then he comes with 4 hands, which are all detailed the same, style the same. We'll talk about that when we get to the figure. 2 relaxed hands, and 1 pointing hand, and then 1 holding hand. The relaxed hands can also, using gravity, can hold the communicator, so that's a nice touch. And then the handcuffs can kind of be held by this hand as well, So there's options to handle all the accessories with those hands. Let's talk about them. Great face sculpt, looks just like him. Nice eye paint in there. We have the white, we have shading around the white, we have reflections in the iris, we have the pupil painted on, we have shading on the face itself. The lips are all painted. It's a very intense pink on those lips, I might say. But they're shading throughout. We have the hair, it's really painted quite well. Looks like we have some dry brushing going on there, really light, faint dry brushing that gives it a pretty photoreal look. And then the mask is sculpted and glued on and looks the part as well. Articulation wise, I think it's a double ball peg. So you get up to there, down to there, and there's nothing for the neck, so that's all you get, and then a swivel. The neck is done the same way. There is like a skin texture to it, and there's subtle shading on there as well. The cape is a soft goods, and it has the collar is molded on to keep the cape in place. You can fold the cape up in a number of ways to get it out of your way. To reveal the torso, which is, this is like a softer red plastic over top of the frame of the figure. I don't think there's like an ab crunch or anything moving up in there. So it's just what you see. Nice sculpted wrinkles and stuff. The R is painted fairly well. It's a little sloppy around the edges, but it's okay. All the seams here, like the stitching is all painted and sculpted, so that looks good. For the arms, you have a disc hinge. It gets you out less than 90 degrees. You have a bicep swivel right at the cut in the seam of the shirt, so that's hidden well. You also get the swivel around, obviously. The hands don't stay on for anything. And you have a double jointed elbow, which gets you the full range to a ridiculous degree, really. And then you have the wrist guards, which also swivel around the forearm, which is where I advise you swivel, because any slight movement of the hands will make them pop out, because the ball peg is so shallow in the opening of the hand. So just to show you, no kind of stability there. And then same for the other side. So for this area, a lot of sculpt work in this area. The seams are like the little materials all sculpted, and then they were I don't know, they were a little generous maybe in what they got going on here, and there's maybe a little too much attention to detail in this section, but it is what it is. You get this swivel, I guess I should show you that, right at the belt, which is sculpted well, painted well, and that's where you get the waist swivel. And I feel like his britches are up a little high. Maybe this section is a little too intense, but whatevs. It is what it is. For the hips, it's a ratchet universal. These are softer material, so you get out to there, which is pretty much the full Van Damme. And pretty much the full Monty. Thigh swivel is around the universal joint. The legs are all painted like his, his hosiery. And then we have a knee, which is a single joint. We got sculpted wrinkles and stuff around the knee, so that's fine. It also swivels a bit if you want that. And then we have the feet, which are a big problem. So I think it's just a ball peg. And the cut here in the Peter Pan boots, as it were, it makes the weight of the figure want to bend forward, and he has a hard time standing. Ankle tilt, you got really none for back. You have a great bit forward, which is actually a problem. The green has some light weathering and some dry. I think that might be a wash. I'm not sure how they did it. And then the soles are painted. It's all sculpted well and painted well, to be fair. And really no ankle rocker whatsoever. So you kind of got to just get him as close as you can get him and hope that he'll stand up. The back of the figure, minus the cape, pretty much what you would expect. Just, the same sort of detailings, just not as many because they'll be hidden, so why waste the money? Negatives-wise, there's only really two issues here, and that's the wrists. Well, aside from the fact that I didn't want this. But that's the wrists, that the hands are constantly popping out of the kind of gauntlets, for lack of a better term, the forearm part of the gloves. And the feet are poorly designed, so he has a very difficult time standing. And those two things make it obnoxious to kind of deal with. And then the other thing is just, the amount of sculpting going on in his nether regions there. What am I going to do with this thing? Having just Batman is one thing. Having Batman and Robin is one thing. Having just Robin, just this Robin, is wild. Positives-wise, the sculpt is great. Well, mostly. The accessories are cool when it's painted to the nines. Now, in all truthfulness, I think I'm going to end up buying the Batman and trying to hunt it down so that I can put the two of them together. And, they'll do their job. I suppose it'll be fine. But this isn't something that I intended on having in my house. And thanks to Robert D., who is completely insane, it looks like there'll be a permanent fixture. I might make it a thing or something. Like if you come by and visit the Skull Cave, you got to touch Robin's britches on your way out. I'm not sure. I'm trying to do something. I don't know. Shout out to Robert. I don't recommend this unless you're really in for the two of them, because the feet, in all seriousness, they really do suck. It is very difficult to get them to stand and look cool and such. So, the sculpt is dead on, but there's just engineering issues. Like, truthfully speaking, all jokes aside, I have serious issues with NECA. I feel like NECA gets a lot of passes and green lights when there's a lot of issues that a lot of their products still continue to have. This one being no exception. So yeah, Robert ended up getting it for 50 bucks. I would say for 50 bucks it's worth it, but I would have guessed that this thing retailed around 100. I don't know. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.